2 Kings 18. Sennacherib, king of Assyria, has been going through the earth, taking down one king after another, destroying one city after another, conquering one nation after another. When I was a young man, I was reading. I was young, now I'm old. But when I was a young man, I was reading through the Bible, and I found it easy for me to read the Good News Bible. Somehow I'd gotten a hard copy. I know I got it in Hillsboro, Kansas, actually. A hard copy of the Good News Bible, today's English version, and I was reading through there, and it just became just alive as I watched all the things that this King Sennacherib did. And I wrote in the margin of my Bible sarcastically, Sennacherib, the great big bad God beater-upper. That's who he thought he was. Because that's what he did. He surrounded Jerusalem, and then he sent a messenger in there with a letter to deliver to Hezekiah. And to Hezekiah's leaders sent a message in there that said, hey, I've been going around beating up everybody's gods. Taking their cities and their nations, defeating their kings. You don't need to let your God deceive you into believing that he can stop me from doing it to you. That's what he said. Don't let your mighty one deceive you into thinking he's any better than the rest of these mighty ones that are out there. When that message was delivered to Hezekiah, in chapter 19, Hezekiah sends a messenger to the prophet Isaiah. And Hezekiah's message to Isaiah was, this is a day of trouble. We are in a lot of trouble. But he said this, it may be that Yahweh, your mighty one, will hear the words that Sennacherib has spoken against the living God and then reprove him. What does reprove mean? Correct him. He said you can't stop him from doing what he is going to do. We need Yahweh to come prove him wrong.
That's exactly right.
Yes, sir. Then Hezekiah, after he sent the messenger to Isaiah, he didn't go, scrolling on his phone or something. He went to prayer. And he took the letter that he had gotten from Sennacherib, went in, laid it down before Yahweh. And he says, here's what he's saying about you. I need you to look at what he's doing, and listen to what he's saying, and then come rescue us. And when he finished praying, Isaiah shows up with a message from Yahweh. You see, Yahweh did see, and he did hear, and then he did speak. You know why? He's a living mighty one. Amen. Now here's what he said. Now, we've got to take the time this morning to read what Yahweh said through Isaiah, but I'm going to read it to you out of the Good News Bible. So it's in 2 Kings 19. You can go back and read it for yourself later, but just right now listen to it out of the Good News Bible. Then Isaiah sent a message telling King Hezekiah that in answer to the king's prayer, Yahweh had said, the city of Jerusalem laughs at you, Sennacherib, and it makes fun of you. Who do you think you have been insulting and ridiculing? You've been disrespectful to me, the holy, mighty one of Israel. You sent your messengers to boast to me that with all your chariots you had conquered the highest mountains of Lebanon. You boasted that there you cut down the tallest cedars and the finest cypress trees, and that you reached the deepest parts of the forest. You boasted that you dug wells and drank water in foreign lands, and that the feet of your soldiers tramped the Nile River dry. Have you never heard that I planned all of that a long time ago? And now I have carried it out. I gave you the power to turn fortified cities into piles of rubble. The people who lived there were powerless. They were frightened. They were stunned. They were like grass in a field or weeds growing on a roof when the hot east wind blasts them. But I know everything about you, what you do and where you go, and I know how you rage against me. I have received the report of your rage and that pride of yours, and now I'm going to put a hook through your nose and a bit in your mouth, and I'm going to take you back by the same road you came. Dropping down to verse 32 now. And this is what Yahweh has said about the Assyrian emperor. He will not enter this city, nor shoot a single arrow against it. No soldiers with shields will come near the city, and no siege mounds will be built around it. He will go back by the same road he came without entering the city. I, Yahweh, have spoken. I will defend this city and protect it for the sake of my own honor and because of the promise I made to my servant David. For the sake, pardon me, of my own honor. He insulted me. I heard it. I'll take care of it. If he shoots an arrow toward the city, I'll slap it out of the sky. It ain't coming into my city. That night, an angel of Yahweh went to the Assyrian camp and killed 185,000 soldiers. At dawn the next day, there they lay. All of them dead. Then the Assyrian emperor Sennacherib withdrew and returned to Nineveh. One day when he was worshiping in the temple of his god, Nisroch, two of his sons killed him with their swords and then escaped to the land of Ararat. His God couldn't protect him because his God's not a living God. Yahweh our Elohim, our mighty one, lives. He heard the stout, prideful words of Sennacherib, and he heard the prayer of Hezekiah, and he spoke to Isaiah. You got that? He heard Sennacherib, he heard Hezekiah, and he spoke to Isaiah. Our mighty one sees, he hears, he speaks. All of those stories we just referenced testify to these things, and we could go on and on proving it. But he proved himself to be the living mighty one when he spoke out of the fire at Sinai. He proved himself to be the living mighty one when he saw the souls of the priests touch the water. He proved to be the living mighty one when he heard the nonsense that Goliath was speaking. He proved to be the living mighty one when he heard the ravings of a fool like Sennacherib. He sees, he hears, he speaks, but don't forget to add this one. He smells. We overlook that one. We think about him seeing, hearing, and speaking, but we don't think about him smelling. The fragrance of the tree of life reveals to me that our mighty one is a living mighty one. He breathes in. When he created man from the dust of the earth, what did he do to make him a living soul? He breathed into him. So when he created us, he breathed out. He breathed into us the breath of life. In order to smell, what do you have to do? You have to breathe in. I know he's a spirit. I know he is spirit. But my Bible tells me that he breathes out and he breathes in. He's a living, mighty one.